Welcome to the Mother Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today.
Hey mothers and daughters, just wanted to come to you today and talk about Leave the World Behind. I know it's been a while since you've heard from me, but you just wait until I tell you what I have gotten myself into for the last 120 days that you haven't heard from me. And it's been good. Let me tell you, you'll be excited for me. I know you will. But I wanted to talk to you about Leave the World Behind for a couple of reasons. One, because it's just been such a conversation. Two, because I almost didn't even watch this movie, and I did watch it the very day that it came out. And I want you to know that I was excited that I watched it, and I was excited about the cast. More importantly, I know a lot of people were excited about the cast because of Julia Roberts and Kevin Bacon, but I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I was excited for the cast because Mahershala Ali was in it, and I remember him from the presidential movie that he played in with Kevin Spacey. So you got your cast, which is Julia Roberts, you got Ethan Hawke, you've got Kevin Bacon, you've got Julia Roberts, and I don't really know the kids, so I'm not going to really mention their name. However, I found that having this group of cast together was quite rewarding because it was all types of weird that I kind of like in my movies. I can't even joke with you. Now, just in case you don't know, there is a book that is on sale at Amazon right now called Leave the World Behind. And it's only about, I think, $13 or something like that. Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's $12.99. So, yes, $13. So, if you want to check out the book, go ahead and check out the book. As you have listened to me in the past, you know that I am an avid reader and I love to read things before I even put anything into it. But let's go ahead and get started with Leave the World Behind. And by the way, one of the things that intrigued me about watching this movie is because I remember when my Aunt Elnora used to say, being a part of the world, being in the world but not being a part of the world. And that's where I kind of find myself, is being in the world but not a part of the shenanigans, I would say, of the world. And so that makes me very proud of myself that I'm just not involved and I'm just not tuned in to the shenanigans of what's going on, with all the negativity and the energy that we're bringing forth by seeing all of these negative images. Because I truly believe that, yes, it's being showed to us in a movie. Yes, it's taking hold of a lot of people's emotions. But I think that when you get that emotionally involved and you get that excited about something that has yet to come, I think that you wield it forward to yourself. And so that's why I'm so removed from so many things that are happening in the world, because I just don't want to wield those things into existence. It's kind of like when you think of something, you think of it enough, it'll show up. I could show you all kinds of proof on that, but I don't even want to blow your mind. But anyway, Leave the World Behind. It had a very interesting warning and message. Now, this is strictly my opinion. I did not read this anywhere. This is me watching the movie and having to watch it twice just to take notes. And I didn't just take notes for this show. I didn't take notes for anything other than what I felt like my interpretation was. Because let me see, one thing about me is when you meet me or you see me or I'm in public, I'm either talking about business, I'm talking about fun, I'm talking about whatever event we're involved in. I'm talking about, something that's a popular topic or something. I'm very well read and very well rounded, I must say, simply because that's what I choose to be. So I'm just going to go through what I felt like the movie was giving us warnings on. I'm going to go through what I felt like my interpretation of the movie was, and I'm just going to read it from the notes that I took, which is one of the reasons I'm not on camera today, is because I took so many notes that I don't want to be focused on that I don't focus on you. All right, so the number one thing is, I warn you of this, it does move slow throughout, but Stick with it. That's what I had to tell my daughter. She said, Mama, after all of the Teslas crashed, I was asleep. She's like, I just couldn't watch it. It was too boring. I'm like, it is boring, but that is what I feel like most people that want to put out these little subliminal warnings, I think that's what they depend on, is for people to be asleep, for people to not pay attention, and for people to not get a message out of something. But you should get a message, and if you don't do anything, take a mental note, okay? So it does move slow. So if you can get past the slowness and just see the back of what's going on, the front of what's going on, the subliminal messages of what's going on, the clothing the people are wearing, if you could just pay attention to some of the messaging and the numbering and the words and things like that, I think it can catch your attention, you know. I do also think that just from the beginning of how it started, I think Julia Roberts in the movie was saying basically take a break from the hustle and bustle and see what's really happening. Because maybe it could be that they were so focused on their glamorous, wonderful life that they didn't even realize that whatever happened was about to happen. Now, I'm not going to give away the movie, but I'm going to just tell you my interpretation of what I saw in the movie. So I think that it started off like that for me. And the first thing I said when I saw her waking up with the message that she had for her husband, I was like, I wonder what led to that. Are they having problems in the marriage? Are they getting bored? Like what's going on with them that she would need to take such measures to want to get away or whatever. So that's always my thought, because I always think about, why do I want to get away? And I get away because I need a monthly reset for myself, and just to get away from all of the things that I'm doing for everybody else. Because once you do something for everybody else, you got to remember that once your bucket is empty, somebody has to fulfill it. And I'm the person that at the moment is fulfilling my own bucket. So I hope that you will do the same for yourself. Now, the music was elegant, and it was excellent, and it just I liked the music going through it. It was very soulful. It was very hip hopish. It was just good. The music was just excellent. Okay, all the way through the end, I liked the music, that choices that they had. I didn't necessarily feel like it fit everything, but I just felt like it was really, really good. I also feel like one of the messages it was saying is to remember to train yourself to be in this world and not of this world. I tell you, my auntie used to always say that. And as a kid, you don't know what people be talking about, but they just be talking, and you don't even get it until you're older. I just literally had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, Peyton. I said to her, you know what? I'm going to say this, and I feel like it's going to be too late. I'll be already dead and gone by the time you realize my mama told me that. And my mama was right. I said, and I'm okay with that. And I told her, I said, just remember, my spirit, when it hears you say that, something will happen and you will know that I heard you say it. And I wasn't trying to scare her or anything like that, but that's just my belief system, and I have to go with what I believe. And so I did say that to her. And I've said that to a variation of each one of my kids, that by the time they realize everything that I've been trying to tell them, show them, and do, uh, they will get the message too late. And it's happened to me so many times that I can't even go through the list. But I'm just now realizing things that people said to me when I was a teenager, before I was a teenager. And I'm just now going, oh, I get what that meant. Duh. Okay. The other message I feel like it was given is, it was saying, get back to the basics. Hey, possibly that could mean live off the grid, have some live off the grid skills, if not anything else. Learn how to live without Wi-Fi and telephones. I am one of those people. I remember when my kids were young and they used to go off to church camp, and they used to go off to mission trips and things like that for a couple of weeks in the summer. I would drop them off, they would get on the big Greyhound bus, go with their groups, and guess what? I would head down to Burnett, Texas. They have a wonderful little retreat there. And when I heard that the lady that owned it was from Houston, I was really excited about that. But I used to go up there, and I would have a silent retreat. I've written most of my books up there. It's called Canyon Eagle, or Eagle Canyon, or something like that. But it's in Burnett, Texas. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely an amazing place to be. And so I feel like if we get back to learning some of our off the grid skills, it's really, really going to save us from so much heartache, headache, and um, just feeling inadequate when something does happen. I'll leave it there. And try to live without those televisions and those telephones and TVs and all of that. I can go a month and never turn my TV on in my house, but when I do binge watch and try to catch up, boy, I tell you, it's really tough. I will just binge watch and binge watch, and it's like I have to then say, okay, done, we're done. Get off the iPad, get off the TV, do something productive where you can hear nothing but the inner sound of either your thoughts or your brain or those type of things. So these are just what I'm saying. I feel like my spirit got from the movie, not necessarily have to be what you get from it. I feel like once you get yourself back to the basics, then you'll kind of have a little bit more insight on how to protect yourself, save yourself, or I guess what I should say is protect your family and save your family. And also, you can share this information with other people. Now, there is a note here I have. It says, all the white cars. And what was so funny is after all the white cars, then Elon Musk, he recalls 2 million cars. And I thought that was just really weird because I thought to myself, what were they going to do with all those crashed cars? Unless that was just purely CGI and no cars really got crashed, which is immediately where my mind went, is that there was literally no cars that got crashed. It was all CGI. But it was just so, in my mind, I'm thinking so wasteful. If you get a chance to watch the movie, which I really suggest you do, and again, hang in with it, it's a slow burn, but observe what's happening locally. Observe that the store didn't have other people. So here's what I want you to observe when you go out to the stores. Observe when something's going to be going down. Observe the people. Observe the stores. Observe the animals. I don't have pets. I don't own any. But I'm going to tell you, every person that I know that owns a pet always says that their pets lead them on to things, or that they watch what their pets do. Now, I have been at the stoplight and the birds have just been swarming, and then they take off all in unison together, and that usually symbolizes, oh, there's a cold front coming or whatever. So I kind of know that from, I guess it could be superstition or it could be truth. I don't know. But that's just what I've always heard. So I kind of stick with that. Now, my next note that I wrote down was, when you're renting others' houses, never let anyone inside. Look, in the beginning of the movie, when the man knocked on the door, when I tell you, he would have been, look, I would have messed up the whole movie, because Mahershala Ali would have been, him and his daughter, they would have been standing outside for so long, they would have felt like Jesus was returning, because I would have never opened that door for anybody. First of all, I'm at an Airbnb. Second of all, I never met the Airbnb host. Third of all, it's already kind of too quiet. The movie was eerily, creepily quiet. It was so quiet. So, listen, when you stay at Airbnbs or you stay in a safe haven place, don't open the door for anybody no matter what. And if you are going to stay in these Airbnb, I've never stayed in one, don't desire, will never do it. Not by myself anyway. Now, if I'm invited over, different story. But let me tell you something. Don't open the door for anyone, and get a photo of your host so that somebody can't walk in and say, oh, I'm the owner and I live here, and this is my house, and I'm just happen to be letting you rent it. So, go ahead, open the door. When I tell you, Mahershala would have been standing outside that door. I don't care how good looking he is. He would have been standing out that door so long. When I tell you, Jesus would have returned and had to let him in, that's what would have had to happen, because he would not have gotten in that door. And if you feel like something weird is happening, it probably is. Not probably, it probably is. P-R-O-L-L-Y, probably is. I can't tell you how many times I have ignored signs and then they come back around. I'm going to give you 3 things. Well, there's 4, but I can only give you 3 because the 4th one is just so out of this world that I'm already working on how to create something out of that. But anyway, I've had 3 really strange dreams in the last, I would say, 6 months. The first dream, and I just told you I don't own any pets. I don't have any friends that I go to their home and they have any. So I'm not around pets. One night I dreamed about a white bison. I can't tell you the dream, but it bothered me to the point that I had to get up and look up what does it mean to dream about white bison. Down the road there, I dreamed about, okay, so I'm in a home, it's a 2-story home, and I'm standing there talking to my friend, and he's going through the dresser drawer looking for something to give me, and I look out the window and I see the earth right there. Now remember, I'm on earth, okay? We all here on earth together. I look out the window and there's earth right there. And so then I looked at him and I said, where are we? And he said, earth. And I looked back out the window like, I know I'm not tripping, that's earth over there. So where are we? Anyway, can't tell you the rest of that dream either. The last dream I'll tell you that I had just recently is there was an eerie noise that brought me back to that dream and Leave the World Behind, to the point that every time I go outside now, I'm looking, because I live where you can hear the traffic from the main street. And I'm in this dream and somebody had gotten into the house. And anyway, we got him out the house. And it was actually my old childhood house. We got him out the house. Funny, the front part was my old childhood house. The back part was my current house. But we got him out the back of the house. I mean, out the front of the door. And I just felt like something told me, no, he slipped back in. He came back in. And don't laugh at me, y'all, but it was like a black Jesus. He looked just like what I would imagine a black Jesus would look like to me. And I felt like he got back in. So it was 3 of us girls, and we were like, okay, well, let's look to see if he's in the house. Okay, we're gonna look in here, and you stay in there. And then the 2 of us, we're gonna look in there. That way, he can't slip around the house. Anyway, by the time we get to the back of the house, out of the clouds, this ladder, and there was an eerie noise that the ladder made. Like, this ladder lets down, and it lets these people that look like they're from all areas of life, all the way back to Jesus, okay? And all of these people are so happy, and they're coming down the ladder on the side of my house, and they're just minding their business. They ain't looking at me. They ain't worried about me. They ain't looking at my house. They're just minding their business, and they're just coming in to Texas, okay? So anyway, I don't know what all of that really means, but I'm just saying this movie just kind of made me think of all the weird dreams that I've been having. And not really weird, but just eye-opening things that I remember, to the point that I had to get up and write down all of them. So if you feel like something is weird happening, it probably is. I feel like something weird is happening, so it probably is. That's my personal opinion, is that I have felt like this, oh gosh, more than a decade now. Something weird is going on. So, anyway. Yeah, I did notice in the movie that the back of the wall that Julia Roberts and her husband slept in, that the wall was like a water wall. It looked like an ocean or whatever coming through. And so that, to me, led me back to I forgot what they call that recall. That's what it's called, recall. It gave me the recall when what happened on the beach happened on the beach, because that was the water sign right there. Pay attention to noises. I have had the ringing in the ears. I have had a lot of noises that have startled my soul, to the point that it's just telling me to pay attention. Not afraid, not scared, because I'm not afraid or scared of any of those things, but it just recalls me back to either a dream I've had or whatever. And I'm going to tell you something about my dreams. My dreams are very imaginative. They're very lucid. They're very real in color. I can make out people's face. Like the dream I had the other night, my daughter, this is a dream. She came into the room. She looked me right in the face. But the way she looked at me in my face was as if to say, no, I'm really here in your dream. I am looking you dead in your eye. You see my entire face. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and she said, Frank is on the phone. And I was like, who is Frank? In my mind, I already knew Frank was the guy that was flirting with me at the job. Look, this is all made up in a dream, okay? I did used to work with a Frank 20 years ago, but 30 years ago almost, but that man wasn't worried about me. Anyway, she said Frank is on the phone. By the way, Frank was working in HR in my dream, and that's how he got my information. And I said, I was afraid because he's in HR, and it's crazy, right? Me telling you this is crazy. But anyway, I had told her, tell him me and your dad are asleep. Because I wanted to deter him. If you got my phone number from my files, you probably have my address. And then I woke up and I realized she was at work. She wasn't even here. But it was her walking in the room, opening my door, and dipping her head down and up to say, no, look at me. You are looking at my face. I am literally in your dream. I'm in color. And I just was like, wow, that was very interesting. But I've had some really wonderful dreams that sometimes I can't remember if they were real or happened in real life or deja vu or what. But check out what's going on in your community. Check out what kind of protocols you have set up for your community. Check out what kind of sirens you have. I remember a few years ago, the sirens went off in New Orleans. You know, half of the public thought it was funny. And I'm not talking about people in New Orleans. I'm just talking about the general online public. A lot of people thought that was funny, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds like the sirens from, I forgot the name of that movie, but those sirens, they went off because it was kind of like an accident or just kind of like something that happened that should not have happened." But find out what warnings you have in your community. Find out what your protocol is. If you have a community center you're supposed to go to, an underground bunker, I'm just saying that you're supposed to go to. If you have some type of safe haven that you're supposed to go to in your community, what the sirens are. If you even have one for your community, if there's something that the fire department has set up for your community. And now I'm going to tell you something. I was driving around for a couple of days, and I noticed that a lot of firehouses are popping up. We have a very, very new one in my community, and after I saw that one, I saw another very, very new one. So, you know, my antennas are up and they are paying attention. Speaking of antennas, I'll be doing a show soon on my little EMF transmitter that I have that I purchased just to see how much radiation is going off around me. And I was so happy that when I purchased it, only about 10%. And so I'm happy, and I've already figured out how to get rid of that 10%. And I'll tell you how, and I'll show you pictures and all that. I'll be back on camera by the time I do that one. So, all in all, I have to tell you the movie sucked. And the reason why I say that is because it was actually really boring. The kids were really, really weird. I don't know why one kid had a NASA shirt on and another one had another different kind of shirt on. It just, just paying attention. Me, when I'm watching a show, I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a series or everything, I'm watching what's on the walls. I'm looking at the sayings, I'm looking at the inscription, I'm looking at what you have on, I'm looking at your shoes, I'm looking at your pants, I'm looking at your hair, I'm looking at your makeup, I'm looking at how you're moving your mouth and your hands and I'm looking at your body language. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at your body language. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm listening to the inflections in your voice. I'm listening to your dialect. I'm listening to and looking at everything about you. And from jump, the daughter was very weird to me. The way she kept referencing she wanted to see friends was just so weird. But now I understand why she was weird. She's like a lot of people in the world. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. I don't know, again, like I said, why Friends was a important part that she just had to get to go and see. I don't get the reference. I don't understand any of it. And coincidental, because they make movies way in advance. They name them and all that. Just coincidentally, 2 weeks before that, one of the Friends characters, Chandler, I only know him by that name on Friends, because that used to be, a show that I watched during COVID. It happened to be on Netflix, and I ended up binge watching it going, oh, this is not that bad. I like Jennifer Aniston, so I gave it a chance. And so I said, okay, it's not that bad. So I binge watched Friends every day and every night because, we were in the house and doing exactly what I think we were supposed to be doing, which is burying ourselves in our sorrows and burying ourselves in our TV. Now, don't get me wrong. Every day I was working toward the master plan. But when I had time and I'm in my room working, I love to, or in my office studio, whatever, I'm working, I love to have background noise. And so having that background noise was very rewarding because I had never, prior to 2020, had never seen one episode of Friends. So for the little girl to keep saying she wanted to see the episode, and I was just like, what is with the Friends references? I just did not get it. So if you're so attached to Friends, why didn't you have a Friends t-shirt on instead of a NASA t-shirt? So on the other hand, Ethan Hawke looked very handsome, I must say. Mahershala Ali looked very, very, very handsome. And Kevin Bacon can't do no wrong with them nice pants he had on and everything. And he just was cool. I thought he was so strange when they first showed him being the guy at the store getting all the water and packing up and everything. That again, if you're paying attention to what's going on at your local stores and stuff, like I remember, and you may remember too, that there was a time we went to the grocery store and there was literally no toilet paper. You couldn't even get the broke down toilet paper. You couldn't get any toilet paper, and that was absolutely weird. Okay? There have been times where you could not get water. Okay? You couldn't get water. Now, the other thing about this movie, and then I'm going to share a story with you on why I know what I'm saying is true. The other thing about the story I wanted you to know is that I did not understand a lot of things about the movie. One, again, like the Friends references. One, I didn't understand why they couldn't have showed more people than the one lady they showed on the road. Two, if there was nobody in the town and everybody had evacuated, why did the drone have to throw down all those papers and litter all over the dang street? Who cleaned that up? The other thing I didn't understand was the cars crashing into each other. I get why they would, because there would be a malfunction. If there's a cyber attack, hackers could get into it and make it do that. I get that. Just 3 weeks ago in Austin, Texas, the cars that self-drive, they all met up at a four-way stop and crashed into each other. So we already see that happening in real life with all this testing of AI and all of that. I didn't understand how the young daughter thought it was okay for her. Like, you didn't get permission. How did you think it was okay for you to just leave the family, wander into the woods? You could have been eaten up by one of those deer that y'all saw, or anybody, if they felt threatened, any animal, and you wandered over to somebody else's house. You thought it was okay to go into their door. The front door was red. It had the word Thornton, so whoever the Thorntons are. And first of all, why were the Thorntons not there? They had a safe house to go into on the inside bunker that they could be safe until the end of the. They had TV down there. They had everything they needed, food, snacks, water. Why did they leave their house? And the reason why I know that's their name is because it was on the front door. And then as the little girl was sitting at the table eating, a black family's photos was behind her. I'm not saying the family that owned that house was black. I'm just saying that's who was on the wall. And usually when we in our houses, our pictures on the wall. My picture's on my wall right now. I look good too. I'm looking at the picture of me on my wall as well. So if you came into my house, you know, oh, that's the lady that owned this house because she got a picture all up on the wall. So that was what I didn't understand. Why did they leave and vacate their home when they really had everything they needed and never had to open their door? Even if you, let's just say, cyber attack, somebody breaks in and they say, we're going to kill up everybody. They couldn't get past the door that they had made. So why did it? One thing about me is I never been a reality show watcher because I can't get anything out of it. I never been just a regular type of TV watcher. If I can't get something out of it, if I can't learn something from it, if I can't take notes from it, I don't watch. Even when I go to the movies, I'm doing it. Like I saw Mission Impossible this summer. It was my movie of the year. Forget about all the others. That one was my movie of the year. It's not about Tom Cruise and thing. I'm just invested in the franchise like I am with James Bond. Okay? But let me tell you something. I just did not understand too many things in this movie, but the things that I did understand, I said, oh, okay, I got you on that. I understand that. And so I'm going to tell you something. If you are not prepared for whatever, and I'm not saying prepare for anything specific, I'm just saying prepare for whatever. If that means that your family needs something, if that means that you got to protect yourself, lock up your doors, get your stuff ready for if something goes down and you know what the stuff is. Get your stuff, whatever that is, get your stuff ready for whatever goes down to protect yourself. Because see, I learned a long time ago that when it comes to me and my house, I am the sole provider to protect in this house. I have to protect this house at all costs necessary, okay? When I took my concealed handgun class, I was the one that they laughed at because the man said, before you shoot your gun, say stop, stop. Do not. I raise my hand. I say, sir, can we just not say anything and just start busting, start shooting? Okay. Like I don't have time to let you know I'm actually in here. I want you to think when you come through the door that there's nobody here, because I'm not trying to sound mean or insensitive or anything, but that's gonna be the last house that you get a chance to come into. It's gonna be the last house that you get an opportunity to say I went there. That's gonna be the last house that your mama got to pick you up from, or whoever is your guardian over you, your wife, your children, whoever. And that's all I'm saying on that. And that's that on that. But I want to share a story with you on how I know what I'm saying is true. When I can't remember the year, but if you're from Houston, you'll know, and if you're not, you can look it up. But when Hurricane Ike came, for 8 days in my community, we had no water, we had no lights, we had no food past however much groceries make. Of course, I have children, so I'm going to always keep at least a month worth of foods, and then another 2 or 3 weeks of snacks that we can snack on. Won't be real food, but it'll be, snacks that we can snack on, like peanut butter and crackers, stuff like that, like what I have right now. And then I'm going to tell you another story, and I hope I don't forget to tell you the other story. But with this story, I'm a type of person that I'm not a card user. I prefer my cash. I'm old-fashioned. That's what I prefer. I went to Kroger's grocery store, and there were so many families in there upset, cussing, babies crying, mamas crying because they couldn't feed their babies, blah, blah, blah. Because the registers were digital, so they could not use their credit cards. I came in the store with my cash money. 20s, 10s, and 5s, no hundreds, because you're not going to keep all of my change, okay? You understand? Got a chance to gas up my car, paid cash. Give me $20 on pump, whatever. Gave them cash. They wasn't even checking to see if the 20 was real, okay? My kids and myself, we went over to the grocery store with our basket, and people were looking at us like we were crazy because we was making groceries. We was about to barbecue in the front yard, understand? Because I have a grill that I can use in case there's no electricity or anything like that. And I have a third story I'm going to tell you too. But we got our groceries and got out of there. Whatever my tab was, I paid it in cash, gave it to the people at the register, had the kids surround the baskets. Because, look, when people need what they need, they will take what you have to take care of their family. And there was some people in there really, really, really upset. Like, if I had extra with me in my pocket, I probably would have bought the one lady who was talking about she didn't have any formula. But I'm thinking to myself, too, girl, you just told a lady you got WIC. And WIC is Women, Infant, and Children, and it gets them free milk for their babies. That's just one thing it does. Does a lot of other stuff. Baby, I would have talked to the manager and said, look, my WIC card is good. Here's a copy of my ID. You can take a picture of that. This is what I'm supposed to be getting with my WIC. If you got a problem and you feel like I'm stealing or I'm getting over, call the police. We got our food. We got back home, and that 8 days was no big deal because we didn't know how much longer it was going to be. So I wanted to make sure we had food, non-perishable type of things that we could use. So of course, like to make sandwiches and stuff, we had like peanut butter, things that weren't going to perish. We had rice cakes. We had, the kids, I don't care what kind of situation you're in, kids want snacks. They had chips, they had things, and I just had to ration it out to them so that they would not, just eat and have everything all at once. So we got our food, but I'm telling you, it was a sad, 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 sad day to see people not be able to buy food for their families because they didn't think to keep a little cash on the side. They didn't think, and this is what bothers me about crypto, anything and everything, is that in those natural disasters, when we need to eat and buy things and get toilet paper for ourselves and do what we need to do in an emergency, if everything goes digital, when I tell you, you will be crying in the store like that lady. You will be crying in there with your mother who's 80 to 90 years old. I'm telling you because I saw it. Back then, we had a little more coof. At least I did. And I didn't video any of it. I didn't take pictures of any of it. I didn't care to share it with anybody. It was a thing, okay? It was just a thing. So I'm telling you right now, Forget about the movie Leave the World Behind. Forget about the upcoming 2024 Civil War movie. Forget about all of that and just start thinking practical. Use your common sense. Use your street sense. Use your book sense. Okay? If you don't have a combination of three, it's not too late. You can still get some. I've met so many people with master's degrees and PhDs and double and triple PhDs that ain't got a lick of street sense to save their life. I hope their book sense and their common sense will save their life, but ain't got a lick of sense to save their life, and it's crazy that that's an actual truth. But I'll just say, Leave the World Behind was just another. It wasn't the first. It was just another eye opener for me. And I'm going to tell you, I'm paying attention to all of that. Now, I said I was going to tell you another story. Another story that relates to this is, if you remember when Rita and Katrina hit. Rita was over here in Texas. Katrina, of course, was over in Louisiana. Baby, nobody came to save them. And you know what I'm telling you? No one is coming to save you. So the metaphor to this, to me, is leave the world behind means get the shenanigans out of your mind. Forget about all of this reality TV and all of that. And focus on something that's like the little girl at the end being so happy that she finally found a working TV so she could watch Friends. It was escapism. She wanted to escape from whatever she felt like what else was going on. So that's all I got out of it at the end, was that I know everybody say the ending was horrible, and it was, the way it just fell off a cliff like it did, but it was just simple escapism, and she just wanted to do what she was doing just to, get her mind off of, oh my gosh, this might be a disaster happening. And I get that, because you do that, I do that in real life. When we want to escape from something, we watch something on TV, we get in our phone and get on social media, all of those things. Also, the third story I wanted to tell you is last year I decided that I wanted to be a ham radio operator just for personal use, not for anybody else or job, or no, I don't need that. And I got so much pushback from getting my ham radio license. Of course, if you do it and they find out you, which I don't get, you should be able to do whatever you want to do, as long as you're not peeping in on other people's calls and doing what the police do, which is how they get on ham radio and listen in to conversations and find stuff. If you want to have it so that you have communication, because see, me, my whole goal in the next 5 years is to not have a cell phone. Is to not have any kind of TV where I need internet to look at it. Okay? All right? That's me, though. You probably wondering, well, how are people going to get a hold of you? That's what I'm figuring out right now. No landline, no digital phones. I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it. I'm ready to be done with it all. I'm ready to be done with social media, all of it. It's been fun. It was fun while it lasted. I got in late on the game of everything, from not even knowing how to figure out MySpace. But I'm so glad I learned MySpace a little bit, because I still have a friend in California who we are still friends since 2005 when MySpace was a thing. So I'm not giving you my warnings like most people to be conspiracy theorists. Nope. I'm not giving you my thoughts on Leave the World Behind because, oh my gosh, I figured out something nobody. Nope. I'm not telling you this about this particular movie because there's been so many. If you go back right now and look at most of the movies that have come out in the last 10 years, baby, you've been being warned. For 20 years, we've been warned. For 10 years, we've been really warned. And in the last 5 years, I just said yesterday, if you didn't learn everything you needed to learn to get you through to the end of your life during 2020, 2021, and 2022, I'm sorry. Because for me, while I was plotting and planning, I learned everything I needed to learn to get me through the second half of my life. Because I'm on the second end. I'm 51. So I'm not in my 20s or 30s or whatever. I'm 51. So I probably got a good old 35 more summers If that. And I'm going to live, and I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to be aware, and I'm going to notice what's going on around me, and I'm going to talk to people who only want to talk about what I want to talk about. So I'm not telling you my review on the movie to scare you, to conspiracy theory you to death. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just telling what I got out of the movie, what I learned from the movie, and my thoughts on it, and what my real life experiences from knowing why I got this out of the movie. Shared a few dreams that I've had with you that have been weird over the last year. I'm just sharing with you because that's what this channel is all about, is information, awareness, you know, ideas. That's all we're doing over here, sharing ideas. So everything I'm saying is just, this is my thoughts according to me and from my view. You don't have to take anything from it other than, oh, that's good, she thought that, great. But I want to also leave you with this. I want to leave you with considering what your plan will be if we do lose internet, what your plan will be if your credit cards don't work, what your plan will be if you don't have family and you're all alone. I'm just asking you to think about it. So mothers and daughters, whether you see the movie or not, you've gotten my gist of it. You really don't have to see it. I didn't give any of it away hardly, but I do want you to just know that it was very interesting. Oh, by the way, I think the credits for producing it came from the Obamas. So that's my show for today. Bye.